Outlaw, Macho, Drive-In.
One person I have to talk about. I knew him before ECW. I got what he was, but he still wasn't. Now I liked him. He was great, but I was never a big fan of. But the franchise, Shane Douglas,
Yeah.
the Dean
Yes.
Douglas
You
thing,
can't.
kind of.
You can't have a discussion about ECW and its partners without bringing up Shane Douglas.
No. But
No.
that's the other thing. That's like when that issue of like WoW came out and it was super glossy and it showed Taz beating Shane Douglas.
Yeah.
For years, I was reading articles about Shane Douglas in like PWI and everything with like Triple Threat, and I knew he was Dean Douglas, but Dean Douglas is a guy who, as a little kid, like being like 8 years old, 9 years old, I was never like, oh, you know what? I really wish I have a Dean Douglas action figure or anything.
Exactly.
So
See,
So you
it's
could
like
have
Dean
so you could have all the
Douglas.
other action figures beat it up, right?
Yes, and so
Yeah.
Dean was never a guy who I desired, and that's the thing with like when you're a little kid, you want to buy action figures for the guys you don't like and the guys you like. Dean Douglas, who didn't have a WF one, was a guy who I just didn't care if he didn't. So when I was reading about him being all dominant in ECW, I was just like, really, this guy? And
Yes.
then by the time I finally saw him and listened to his promos, it's like, where the hell was this guy at in like
Exactly.
WCW and WWF? And even his ring style was different. Like he was more physical, he was nastier. Like he was technical, but he was a nasty technical star.
And
That's how I felt about too.
he had that grittiness about him. It's like
Yes.
it's night and day between Shane Douglas and Dean Douglas. It's not.
Yes. Yes.
And again,
'Cause I'm the
that,
franchise.
yeah, and again I mean, like his original promo, the one I just parodied on, the open of the show. That's kind of like what made people turn their heads and say, okay, what is happening
Who's
here?
this guy?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like it's like I think that was the part. I mean, this is what led to them turning from Eastern Championship Wrestling to Extreme Championship Wrestling.
It was.
It's,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and he delivered it. He delivered. I'm not gonna say it's like a pitch perfect delivery, but it was like a very real, very grounded, very like you could tell this is the real guy. He was like struggling with the words and he might have been struggling with the words because he didn't want to do it, but it came off as that like this is such an emotional moment for this guy, and he's like he's bumping the systems, and again the anti-hero,
Yes.
which
Mhm.
unfortunately, like I think Shane Douglas might be the worst anti-hero in the history of the business because try as he must, people
Yeah.
never actually got behind him as
No.
as they would think. Like
Like
I think,
mean, hell, like they even tried that in WCW because a lot of times when like a star would jump over,
Mhm.
they would a lot of times make him a baby face for the first month or so, and when he went to WCW, I think they were banking on him being super over, and like that's when he formed Revolution with Benoit and Malenko and Saturn, and fans just weren't responding to him at all. So they had pretty much no choice but to turn Revolution heels. And he didn't have the best WCW run. But
No.
when he first entered, I was like, all right, they might be doing something well with him right here because they're trying to make him kind of like the edgy guy who he's having a stable full of the guys that the internet community would have really been championing. It was basically like I don't want to say they're like undisputed era, but it was basically a 4-man group of like I don't want to say indie darlings either, but internet darlings who the fans were completely loving, but as a stable they just didn't work. And Shane Douglas, I think him being the mouthpiece, because let's face it, the other three aren't known for their mic skills. Shane Douglas is just a much more natural heel. So when he tried to cut babyface promos, it just didn't really do anything.
And even in ECW, when he tried to be a pro ECW guy, I never felt that people would like cheer him for it. Like, for example, the Brian Pillman thing, when Brian Pillman did the whole whip out the thing, and he came out and he said,
Yes.
"Someone take this WCW wannabe or whatever out of here," and it just fell flat. Like the crowd did not react to whatever Shane Douglas was saying at all. They were just, Brian Pillman is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Yeah, and that's how I felt about him. Like he was great, and I liked it. I was like you, like what was this, version of Shane? But then he was kind of them people that WCW didn't know how to use him, and he wasn't really over at that point. They just like he was there, and I know he had heat with WWE, hence why he didn't jump ship with the
Yeah.
other three. But I would have took the risk. But knowing how they went through the emotions, yeah, he
I
would have probably
mean,
got released.
if you
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you hear Jim Cornette talk about it, that bridge was like, not just burn. It was it was like it was
he
just
went
erased.
against.
Yeah.
He went and went with these guys. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like he went against these guys. Jim Cornette didn't like him. Like if Jim Cornette and the Clique don't like you, so there's no camp for you to
No.
hang your head in, or
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah,
So-
he was. So
Thank you for joining us on the Outlaw Macho Drive-In. If you liked that video, please click like and subscribe to our channel for more content from the Drive-In. For full episodes of our podcast, you may look us up on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are available. Just search for Outlaw Macho Drive-In. And if it's not too much trouble, would you help us out here? Spread the word, share. We would really appreciate it. Thank you. We love you. Bye.